Hello, welcome to the quick take after Fulham's 1-0 win over Hull City yesterday. A really, really fun day. I'm feeling a little bit worse for wear this morning after the trip up to Humberside yesterday, but can you blame me? A brilliant, brilliant win for Fulham that takes us 11 points clear of third, 12 points clear of QPR. Promotion looking even more sound now. And you know what? Yesterday was a really dogged, determined win, and just one that I'm really happy that Fulham managed to get over the line, because there was definitely points in that first half where I was a little bit concerned that today just wasn't going to be one of those days. I'll go through the match and then I'll do some comments at the end. But yeah, it was an unchanged lineup for Fulham, and I think deservedly so after that Millwall performance. I think Nat Chalobah deserved to keep his spot. I think Nico Williams did okay in that game. And to be honest, there isn't really much other choice at right back at the moment. So I wasn't too disappointed to see an unchanged lineup. It was kind of what I was expecting. But I think quite quickly, as soon as the game started, you just realized that this wasn't going to be an easy day. It was freezing yesterday up at Hull. I was wearing two coats, a jumper, and I was still cold. The wind was whipping around. It had been raining kind of all day up until then, and the pitch was just a quagmire. Obviously, it's a rugby pitch as well, and you could just tell the ball was getting stuck in the center circle, and you just felt like it wasn't conducive. You wonder if Hull maybe even made the pitch worse in the conditions. Did they water it even more than it had already been done by the sky that morning? And Fulham, we created chances in the first half. I wouldn't say it was free flowing. I think Harry Wilson had the best of them. He rounded the keeper, should have really got his head up and looked back for Mitrović. The angle was never on for him to score that one. And then there was another chance in the second half where he got played through. The ball kind of got caught under his feet, and he went for goal. The keeper saved. And again, maybe if he'd got his head up, I think Carvalho was in the better position to score. And actually, towards half time, I felt like if this game was going to go one way, I thought Hull maybe were starting to creep into the game towards the end of the first half. Marcus Forss had their probably best chance. Ream cleared it straight into Anthony Robertson's backside, and it fell to Forss, who, I mean, I was never really thinking he was going to slot it in, but he certainly put it a little bit closer to the goal than I'd have wanted. And halftime came, and I genuinely wondered at that point. I said to a few people at halftime, it's like, this is either going to finish 1-0 to Fulham or it's 0-0. I can't see Hull scoring, but there's not going to be many chances for us to score either. But second half, thought we came out a bit better, with a bit more purpose, a bit more intent. I think Hull started to tire a little bit, and then let's come on to the goal. What a goal. In so many ways. Nico Williams, what a cross that was. I think that the position that we were in behind the goal for that, you could see it coming. You saw Mitrović see the space, pointing to Nico Williams with an inch perfect ball. And the way that Mitro just gets in front of the defender, nicks something on it. He doesn't need to get loads on the header. It's just a directional one. The pace was on the cross. And I was to the right of the goal, and you just knew from the moment, had the perfect angle. Sometimes you do in a stadium, just had the perfect angle to know that was heading straight in. And good celebrations. Enjoyed Mitro going over to the Hull fans. There was a weird moment in the first half where Mitro does get an elbow to the face, but classic Mitro, I think he rolls around a bit on the floor more than he needs to, but he knows what he's doing. He's winding up. There was a section of Hull fans right there that were probably the most vocal Hull fans, and they were really angry with Mitro, singing "He's Gonna Cry" in a minute. And so for then Mitro to go over there and give it to them really was hugely enjoyable from a Fulham point of view. And then the chant from Fulham, he scored more goals than you, which of course he's now got 5 more goals than Hull City's whole team this season, 31 goals. It was very enjoyable, to say the least, in that away end. And for the rest of the game, I mean, Fulham didn't really create too much more. We brought a few players on just to shore it up. We brought on Harrison Reed. We actually took Mitro off and brought Muniz on for the last 10 minutes. And it was just a case of trying to batten down the hatches and make sure nothing silly happened. We gave away a couple of free kicks towards the end. I was like, oh, I think we could have avoided that, lads. But nothing really came of any of them. And apart from, yeah, maybe one free kick in the 90th minute where I was a tad concerned. Did Hull really ever danger us? I'm not 100% sure they did. It was a solid performance from the defence at the back, just kind of keeping Hull at arm's length. Which is difficult in the conditions and everything else that went. There's a lot to be said for going there, doing a solid job, keeping a clean sheet, second clean sheet in a row for the lads, and I think that's vitally important. We've actually now conceded the joint fewest goals in the Championship. Everyone's talking about how good our attack is, how many goals we scored this season, but actually 26 goals is the fewest that we've conceded in the Championship. And actually probably worth having a little bit of a look at the table. So this is how it stands, and yeah, it's a pretty sight, isn't it? Fulham top of the table. Obviously Bournemouth did get that win annoyingly at Blackpool in the final minute yesterday, which keeps them within 6 points, but that's fine. For me, yes, at some point, I'd love us to get the title. I'd be disappointed if we don't, quite frankly, at the moment, but it's still looking really nice. 11 points ahead of Blackburn, and it's still a game in hand over them, and then 12 points to QPR, because as Ethan says, thoughts on Agent Keener? Brilliant. What a goal from Domingos Keener for Barnsley to get them the win over QPR. I think QPR must be sick. That's a horrible result, given everything that was going for them to drop points in a game like that, when I genuinely think they have a chance of getting second, but not if they go to Barnsley and keep losing. And with Bournemouth's additions, you've just got to wonder now, is our QPR going to catch Scott Parker's team? And I'm not 100% sure. I think yesterday was massive for Parker and Bournemouth. They've got some difficult games coming up, though. I think they've got Forest and Stoke and Swansea. They've got a few little messy games there, Bournemouth. I think if they can get through those next three intact, then I think probably we are now starting to look at a Fulham Bournemouth 1-2. But yeah, we will deal with Bournemouth later in the season. At the moment, for me, I just want to get promotion as sure as possible. And really now with 16 games left, how many does Fulham have to win to secure promotion? I'm thinking maybe 8. 8 gets us to 87 points, if I'm not mistaken. 8 wins gets us, pretty much there. That's winning 50% of our matches. And that is one hell of a position for Fulham to be in now. The pressure is slightly off. I think Fulham have got 3 good-ish fixtures coming up. Huddersfield next is difficult. And then you've got Peterborough, who are fighting for their lives at the bottom. Same with Cardiff. Fingers crossed, if Fulham can get 7 points out of those, then we'll be in a fantastic position heading into March, where we've got the more difficult games. And I thought I'd show you this actually on Mitrović. This was from Cottage Analytic on Twitter, who's doing a tally of how Mitrović is getting on in the second tier goal race. And obviously, 31 goals yesterday for Mitrović. He's equaled Ivan Toney's all-time championship record. But for me, this is a bit of a weird statistic that it's just going back 20 years. The championship, as far as the records are concerned, started in 2004. It's not like the Premier League, where they did change the amount of teams. It went from, I believe, 22 to 20, and therefore the records do kind of have to restart. Guy Whittingham in 92-93 still scored 42 goals in a full championship season, 46 games, the same as the conditions that we have now. And we're not talking about a record from the 30s here, when football was wildly different. We're talking about 92-93. That, for me, is the record for Mitrović to try and emulate here. I think he can do it. He would still, if he gets 1 goal a game between now and the end of the season, he will smash that record. So it's well within his sights, and that's got to be the real aim, because that's proper history breaking if he can reach Guy Whittingham's. But yeah, you can just see on this chart here in the green line how Mitrović is getting on compared to Guy Whittingham in the red line. So he's slightly ahead of where Guy Whittingham was. He obviously goes on some good runs towards the end of the season to kind of get towards that 42 goal point. And I do think that Mitrović is definitely capable of that. I'll go through some questions. This one from Jack Finn. Do you think we should sign Williams come the Prem next season? Jury's still out for me. I still think that it's a bit early to to judge whether he's going to be a good asset for us in the Premier League. But, first showings against Millwall, I was a bit okay. But yesterday, he was close to my man of the match between him and Nat Chalobah. It was a really impressive performance. And there was a good tackle in the first half as well, where I think Hull potentially were through on goal, but Williams just kind of did a last ditch tackle. And I mean, it was a dangerous one. He had at risk of giving away a penalty, and he got it absolutely inch perfect. So, and as Jack referenced on the podcast, I do think that the chance will be there if Fulham want to sign him. If it all goes well, I believe he's not going to get above Trent Alexander-Arnold on that Liverpool side, is he? So I think that there is a chance that Fulham could sign him, I think, if we want. But for me, I think I still got to see him for, another 5-6 games before I really start to wonder whether we should be looking at signing him. But it's been a great start for him so far. Alva Lambert, Bobby channeling his inner Steph Joe in the last minute was very nice. He went a bit hard on that tackle. I was like, yeah, foul him. Like he's getting away. It's last minute. You might as well pick up a yellow card. But he kind of scissor kicked him. I was thinking, God, like calm it down a little bit. I thought he was in a little bit red card territory if he went in any harder. But yeah, it was quite nice to see him channeling his inner Steffi Hansen. Jay's, it's going to be really difficult for Tete when he returns. Yeah, 100%. Just, I think Tete was struggling to displace Adoy at times this season, and I think that does he get back in again? It's Silva seems to be a fan of if you've got the place, it's yours to lose. It happened with Dennis Adoy early this season where Dennis was playing well, even though Tete was back from injury. Tete had to really earn his place back in the side and wait for Dennis's performances to drop, and I don't see it be any different with Williams and Tete. And speaking of that, Dan Cook says Nat Chalobah has acquired a considerable amount of real estate rent-free in the heads of Hull fans. Yeah, his celebrations at the end were very enjoyable. He was kind of coming over to applaud the Fulham fans, but I think more to wind up the Hull City fans, which was, yeah, pleasurable to watch, to say the least. And he was fantastic, I thought, yesterday, Nat Chalobah. Occasionally seems to be do the odd sloppy pass in the end towards the end of the game. I think sometimes his lackadaisical style tends to go a tad too far in the final minutes, but he was imperious yesterday. And does Harrison Reed get back into this side? I mentioned it last week. Not if Nat Chalobah keeps performing the way he has. And what an asset he's suddenly become to this side from nowhere, really. I think we all were wondering why we'd bothered to sign Nat Chalobah. What is he really going to make the difference? Is he going to break into this team when Fulham are playing so well? And actually, I think that right now he's starting to completely prove his worth. Watford fans were disappointed when they lost him, particularly as it was basically a free. And I think it's a great bit of business, Nat Chalobah, and I think he'll be a really useful option when we're in the Premier League next season. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the quick take today. Just my thoughts on yesterday's brilliant win, top of the league, 11 points clear of third. It's a really, really nice time to be a Fulham supporter. And we've got another week now until a game. It's no midweek Fulham this week. So we go again against Huddersfield on Saturday, who now 12 matches unbeaten. That came out of nowhere. I had no idea they were on such a long unbeaten run until last week. And if you look at their fixtures, some of their wins are quite impressive. A lot of draws in there as well. Got a draw yesterday at Sheffield United. But I think that's going to be a really, really difficult game for us. And I think would be a huge, huge win if we can kind of break a 12-match unbeaten record. It's longer than we've been unbeaten. So we cannot take them lightly at all. So hope you enjoyed the quick take today, and we'll see you on another one very, very soon. Come on, you Whites.